All right. Good luck, everybody.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. As long as we stick to schedule, right? All right, I'm going on mute. Linda, you'll keep reminding them about going on mute, right? Gary, you'll remind them, go on mute.
I'll go on mute as soon as I do the
No,
opening.
I mean, you got to tell everyone else, go on mute.
Onto SR 426, Fairbanks Avenue West.
All right. I'm going to ask you to please mute yourself if you're coming in now, so we don't disturb anyone who's speaking. Thank you very much. We're going to get started in a minute or two. We still have people coming into the Zoom meeting. Thank you for your patience. If you're coming in, please make sure you're on mute unless you are speaking. So we have a chat box. The chat box is only going to be directed to me for this meeting because we have over 200 people attending. If you have a question, please put it in the chat box. We will do our best to try to get to it. We already have about 10 questions that were submitted before this meeting. So if we don't get to your questions, we will try to get them answered after, and the Marketing Council will send out a summary of everything that went on today. So I believe we are good to go. Gary, hand it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. Good morning, everybody, and greetings. I'm Gary Pyott, proud chairman of the Aventura Marketing Council and Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to another Condo and Homeowner Association board members and property managers Zoom meeting. First of all, thanks to our Zoom extraordinaire administrator, Michael Stern. As Michael said, he will monitor the chat box that we have. So if you have something, put it in there. If we have time, we'll get to it. If not, we will respond to you. First of all, my sincere thank you to our chair, Aventura Commissioner, Dr. Linda Marks, who is chairperson of our CHOAB committee. We'd also like to thank our three wonderful sponsors. You'll hear from them just in a little while, and they are Hotwire Communications, the Pyott Aventura, and my own personal favorite, my company where I'm partners at, and that is Campbell Property Management. We also have a great panel for you today, but as Michael said, just a few notes. Please keep yourself muted if you're not one of the speakers. If you're one of our featured guest speakers, just please unmute yourself when Dr. Marks calls upon you. And if you do have any questions, just please try to drop them in the chat box. And as said before, we will do our best to get to them during our meeting. And now to get started, we always like to stay on time for these meetings. We respect everybody's time and all of you that are taking the time out to join us this morning. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our committee chairperson, Aventura Commissioner, Dr. Linda Marks, who is also president of the Master Board right here in our own city at the point of Aventura. Dr. Marks, it's all yours.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
You're good.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I certainly want to welcome all of you, and I'm delighted that we're all together to celebrate another wonderful CHOAB event. And what I would like to do right now is I have the pleasure and privilege to call on our own mayor in the city of Aventura, Mayor Enid Weissman, who is going to just greet us for a moment.
Okay. I think I unmuted.
You're good.
I do think I
You
unmuted.
are.
I want to say good morning to everyone. This promises to be one of the most exciting and informative in our series dealing with condos and property managers. I'm delighted that so many people are choosing to attend. I'm going to get a quick reminder in since I have so many people on the line. We do have a special election in Aventura. I think something was mailed to you. Please familiarize yourself with it and the people in your condos. And I hope you have a wonderful Aventura morning and that you get every single question answered because you have a very esteemed panel and nobody could put more into this than Dr. Marks.
Oh,
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you for everything you do for our city. We have a very full program this morning. Each one of the speakers will have 5 minutes to cover their topic and then 5 minutes for us to answer questions that you can place in the chat box. We understand that we won't be able to answer all of the questions this morning, but we will try to get to as many as we can. We do have a guest speaker, Senator Jason Pizzo, who is currently literally in session, and he's going to break at some time during our hour to be able to join us. So we may be interrupting something right in the middle just to get Senator Pizzo to be able to speak to us, because we have very important information about new laws that are going to be coming down the pike. So that would be the only interruption that may take place. I do want to tell you, we have lots of great door prizes today. Hotwire Communications has been kind enough to donate a $100 Visa card, and Pyott Aventura has donated a $100 Amazon card. We have an Amex card for $100 donated from Campbell Property, and from Jonathan Banyahan from Just Salad, and I did botch his name up just now, but Elaine will help me later with that. We have 3 gift cards, and he's representing Just Salad, and that is a $75 gift card, a $50 gift card, and a $25 gift card. So please stay on with us, and you may be the proud winner. I'm sorry.
I got it.
We got it. Okay. All right. These meetings don't happen without our sponsors. And so we want to thank the Pyott Aventura. And I'd like to introduce Maya Media Villa, who is going to select a door prize number from anything from 1 to 200. And then she's going to show us a quick 2-minute video. Maya, please join us.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Miami-Dade Villa with Pyott Aventura, and we are very pleased to sponsor this event. So before I show the video, I'd like to pick our raffle number, and I'm just going to say 117 is our number.
Wonderful.
And to introduce our video very quickly, Pyott Aventura, we're a luxury life plan community, which is known as a continuing care retirement community, and we offer residents of a range of independent living options in retirement with a plan for potential care. And so while I could talk more, I really just want to show you. So I'm delighted to give you this glimpse into our community.
The best thing about the V is the sense of community. You move here and you get a second family. It's like a cruise ship 24/7.
When seniors move in here, instead of thinking of the things they're no longer going to do in retirement, they get to see all the things that they can do in retirement, all the things that they didn't have time to do before. So in many ways, this community opens a window of opportunity for the things that you could be doing in retirement. It is a beautiful location. And on top of that, we have a philosophy, which is to have longevity. So being here where you can make appointments to go to your pedicure downstairs or meet somebody else for the swimming class or hang out with the guys and play poker or play games together or go out to lunch. The options are there for a very vibrant social life.
As a life plan community, living at V not only features resort-like surroundings and top-notch service and amenities, it also includes access to our care center, which offers assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care should the need arise, so that you can live for today while planning for tomorrow. At V, you'll live your best life for the rest of your life. V at Aventura. Rethink your retirement.
Thank you so much for that. And I will tell you a personal small story. I was out the other day, I bumped into a couple who just told me how they had just moved into the V and how thrilled they were, and that they don't even go to restaurants anymore because they have their own wonderful restaurant right at the V, and they're so happy. So please, anyone who is looking for something like that, this is a wonderful location to go to. And with that, I'm going to begin the program with just a little bit of an overview about something that I know none of you board members are dealing with, and that is, how do you reopen your building? When do you reopen it, and how is it going to look, and what is it going to look like? And I'm going to give you a little bit of background information because, again, speaking to board members and as a fellow board member, there are just certain things that we deal with every day. And one of the things is there's no roadmap for this. There's no book we can find. There's no directions. We're making this up as we go along, and so is everyone else. And I know that all of you who are on this call are doing the very best that you can do, given the situation that there's nowhere to turn really for help other than, to look at science or whatever. So having said that, knowing that you're pioneers, you're now going to be faced very, very soon with getting your buildings reopened. And during that time, how do you do it safely? What do you do? What don't you do? And I would say to you, most of you are probably hearing two sides of the story. The one side of the story is, please don't reopen the building. I feel safe the way it is. I don't want any more people in the building. I don't want any more action in the building. Please don't reopen the building. And then you have the other side of the people who are saying, look, I'm paying maintenance. I want everything open. I want it open now. And I'm sure that all of you are hearing these same things. And now we're being faced with, well, wait a minute, I got a vaccine. Why do I have to follow the rules? I got the vaccine, I'm safe. Well, you're not really safe. You might be safe for yourself, maybe, but no one knows because this is the first year that anyone has this vaccine. But are you also spreading the vaccine to other people? And then we have to take into account as board members, what about our staff? Are they vaccinated? If not, what are we exposing them to? And that becomes another situation. So I'm going to divide this into two parts. The first part is your actual building. And you're going to have to be facing very, very soon the following. Have you restricted elevator usage to certain numbers of people? If so, are you going to go back to having somewhat of a social distance, but increasing the numbers? What about your common areas? Have they been closed? If so, it's time to reopen the common areas, maybe with some special numbers in mind, but it's time to reopen the common areas. What about the most important thing? And that is the cleaning of your building. Do you have a program in place, and have you had a program in place where you are having your cleaning staff making sure that things like elevator buttons, door handles, rooms that are used a lot, et cetera, are you wiping things down? Are they wiping things down on a very consistent basis? If not, that's something that you absolutely have to talk about. So this is something that you as a board need to get together with, have a meeting, talk publicly about it. You're going to get definite information. You'll get feedback, believe me, from your residents, but you're going to have to reopen your buildings very soon. So it's very important that you have a good plan to do that. Now, concurrently, the other thing that you have is a situation where many of you may have spa buildings, or you may have workout rooms or pools or other amenities, public amenities, tennis courts. And what about those areas? Have you kept them closed? Certain buildings have kept them closed. They did not feel that they could really maintain them properly. You're going to have to think about opening everything. And the question is, do you want to limit a little bit in terms of what your numbers are, at least in the beginning? Do you just want to go full force? Again, you've got to talk to your boards and you've got to make those decisions, but you need to be making them now because this is coming down the pike very, very quickly. The last thing that I want to bring up to you is that you have employees who likely have come to work for the past year plus months, every single day, just as they were supposed to come, and really have exposed themselves to potential threat in terms of COVID, but they came every single day during all this time. The other thing that you really want to talk about as a board is once you do this complete reopening or almost complete reopening, how do you thank your employees? Because they do deserve really commendation for the hard work they've done. So please, as you talk about your building openings and you talk about your spa or amenity openings, please make sure that you also talk about how can we just give a really big thank you? And in what way do we want to thank all of the employees who have so loyally come to work every day? And with that, I'm going to take a couple of questions if Michael Stern has them. I do want to say that any questions that I've seen that have come in previously really are legal questions that have to do with, can we require this or can we require that? And those kinds of questions, I'm going to strongly advise you to contact your particular association attorney, because different attorneys have different opinions, and the attorney's going to have to back you up no matter what decision you make. So anything where you're concerned about a legal matter, contact your attorney and really ask for his advice or her advice. And with that, Michael, do we have any other questions?
Oh boy, we got a lot. I'm not even
Oh,
sure where
boy.
to start. So I'll just pick one random. Let's see. This is from John Messina. The developer wants the workout center and clubhouse open. We have stated that without proper sanitation and constant attention to wiping down, we invite contamination. They're headstrong that we need to open these areas without further staffing. Your thoughts?
And these are personal thoughts, not legal thoughts. You cannot have anything where you don't have proper sanitation, because you don't know what's spreading and what's mutating and what else is happening. And you're absolutely just asking for trouble. Having said that, if it is open, you as board members certainly need to notify your residents that there is not proper sanitation going on and that they're really there at their own risk. But again, obviously consult your attorney, but you must have proper sanitation. And it's going to cost a little extra money right now to hire people to be able to do that. But you have to weigh that versus people's safety.
Here's a question. I'm going to combine two questions from Steven Strasnick and from Neil Katz. Can people who have not been vaccinated be excluded from indoor facilities? And is it legal for an HOA to ask for proof of vaccination to use the facilities?
So first of all, if you are an owner at that HOA or at that condominium, you have a right to be there, period. That you're paying, it's yours. You have just as much right as someone who isn't vaccinated. And frankly, you have people who haven't been vaccinated on a lot of different items. Having said that, again, because these are so unusual times, I talked to the lawyer to ask if there's anything you can do. But again, remember that they own the property just as you do. And I think we have time for just one more question and then we have to move on.
Okay. Is it best to open amenities on a progressive basis? Example, a barbecue area, but with a schedule so only one person at a time is using the barbecue, or reopen the lobby sitting area, but not the social room, etc. Or is it best just to wait until everything can be reopened permanently and the danger of possible contamination has passed? What are the pros and cons legally and psychologically?
Okay, and psychologically, let's talk about this. All of your residents have been impacted psychologically just because of what's happened in the pandemic for over the last year. So you have to always take that into account. When you're going to open your areas, just open them, because the barbecue area is no different than the card room, and the card room is no different than your lobby. So just open them. If you want to try it on a phase-in, open them all. Maybe limit the number of people just for a week, 2 weeks, whatever, so that you can see what you need to do internally to make sure that you can keep those areas clean. But it doesn't pay to do one and not the other. And I think with that, we're going to have to move on. I know that we could probably spend all morning just talking about these items, but I do want to now take an opportunity to introduce our president of our association, Gary Pyott, who also is very active because of his strong background in property management, and he is representing Campbell Property Management. He's also, as I said, our own AMC chairman. We're going to hear a little bit about Campbell Property, and then Gary is going to be talking about the 7 habits of highly successful board members. So Gary, please take it away and pick a number, please, from 1 to 200.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Marks. And let's say I will pick number 99.
Good job.
Perfect. Number 99 is the winner for today. So good morning, everybody. And again, thank you for joining. My name is Gary Pyott. I am the VP of Operations here in South Broward and Dade County for Campbell Property Management. Just a little bit of history, and then we'll get started. Michael is going to help me with a slide presentation today and first a video, so we'll get to that in just 1 second. But really quickly, just so many of you get a little bit of understanding about us. As I said, we are a property management company. Our main office is located here in Hillsborough, which is just on the north side of Fort Lauderdale, but we do operations in all the way down to South Broward and down into Dade County. I am a partner of property management for Campbell here in the Aventura area, South Broward and Dade County. So I am, as Dr. Mark said, your chairman of the board for the Aventura Marketing Council, over 30-year resident here in Aventura. I'm also a licensed CAM. And in addition to that, and I know Senator Pizzo is going to be on, I'm also your latest governor's appointment to the Regulatory Council of Community Associations. So I am your representative down here in the South End, if you will, or let's just call it Dade County and South Broward. The Regulatory Council of Community Associations runs under the Department of the DPPR, Department of Business and Professional Regulation in Tallahassee. So I work very closely with numerous HOAs and condo associations. So for those of you really quickly, before I get started, that are not familiar with Campbell, we've been in business since 1953. We are the oldest single family operated management company in South Florida. We remain operated and managed. We manage over 400 HOA and condo associations, as I said, from Dade County to the Treasure Coast. We are also South Florida's highest rated property management company. And I like to say, since I've been in this business for 20 years, you hear a lot from property management companies, but our main difference is we still have the owners, myself here in South Broward and Dade County, our third generation family owner, Bill Campbell, and our other 3 partners for the company, all involved in the day-to-day operations. So we not only operate the company, but we are inherently involved in all the day-to-day operations. So if you have any needs, any questions at all in regards to condos and HOA after today, please do not hesitate to give me a call. I am your neighbor here in the Dade County and South Broward area. So Michael, that being said, why don't you pop up the video first, and this will set the premise for what I'm going to talk about today.
New home, neighborhood's great.
Amazing school district. The HOA has been very involved.
These shrubs aren't board approved. You need to break down your cardboard.
Thank you.
Violation, violation.
I see you've met Cynthia.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
And does help us save a bunch of money.
2 inches over regulation.
Thanks, Cynthia.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Well, to see more great Geico.
Thanks, Michael. And to everybody, I love that video. When I saw that for the first time on TV, it really set the tone for those of us that are involved in community associations. Michael, if you want to jump to slide 3 where it says wrong way. Perfect, Michael. Thank you. So this first slide here, wrong way. I start off this way. I start with the video and I start my presentation with our condo, as we're all called. I happen to be a board member also, by the way. So I start all of this with our condo commando worst practices. And I like to put 7 of them. Condo commando worst practices: making decisions based on your own personal agenda, exclude opposing board members, make penny wise and pound foolish decisions, micromanage the staff and vendors, keep everyone in the dark, and ignore the rules. And the last but not least, attack your neighbors. Those, as board members and those on the program today, just keep those in your mind as the worst practices for board members in an association as I go through the 7 habits of a highly successful board member. Michael? Perfect. Put your community interest first. Second, Michael, seek consensus. We all as association and as board members need to seek consensus by putting the community interest first. Remember, we are either elected or appointed to represent our entire community. Number three, Michael, invest in your community. We have a budget for a community. That budget is supposed to be spent. A lot of associations I deal with want to keep their money in the bank. It's like their own personal little savings fund. But the idea of a zero-based budget is revenue in, revenue out. Revenue in, expenses out. So invest in your community. Number four, trust your manager. This is probably one of the most important that I have here in the 7 habits of a successfully board member. Please trust your manager. They're professionals. They operate associations. Their interest is to do the best thing for the community. So please trust your manager. We'll touch a little bit about these later on. Number five, Michael, over communicate. We all know that communication is one of the most important facets in not only association management, but just our life in general. So please never try to hide anything, right? Because hide is perception to the community that something is being done that shouldn't be done. So always communicate. 6, Michael, play by the rules. There are rules in an HOA, right? Statute 720, and a condominium association, statute 718. We use that as our playbook. And then we also use the infamous Robert's Rules of Order to manage our meetings that we have. So when I say play by the rules, please stick to 720 if you're an HOA and 718 if you are a condominium association. And number 7, be a good neighbor. We all live in a community. I live in a high rise right here in Aventura. I've lived in a community association pretty much the most of my life. So not only are we board members, but we are unit owners first. So please, please, please try to be a good neighbor. Next slide, Michael. Shared living. Shared living equals shared values. You'll see that there are 3 slides right here. The moderate. Next. The penny pinchers. We have the penny pinchers that are here, and we have the big spenders. The moderate in the middle. That's where we all want to try to land, in the moderate range, right? Penny pinchers, as I said, well, you know, savings account, trying to keep your money in the bank. Let's spend our money to improve our associations and to increase our property values. Big spenders, don't overspend. You have a budget, stay within it. Put the community, go ahead, Michael, it's good. You can go to the next slide. Put the community interest first. We all know this saying here, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Just substitute association for country. As board members, let's ask not what we can do for our associations, you know, not do, but let's all row, basically row in the same direction, right? Goes back to consensus. Next slide, Michael. Seek consensus. As I said, you have either usually an odd number of board members, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. That's usually within this realm in South Broward and Aventura. We always know that to get a vote, right, to get a quorum, you need half plus 1. To approve anything at a board meeting, you need half plus 1. Seek consensus. Be in agreement with the rest of your board members. Don't try to drive an agenda item that might be personal in nature to you, that you really think is important to you as an individual. But as a board member, we need to understand what's best for the group. So seek consensus, please. Next, Michael. Invest in your community. Put your money where your house is. As I said, we all prepare a budget on an annual basis. It's supposed to be what we call a zero-based budget, and that means income matches expense to the dollar. So as I said earlier, the theory is what your income is, what you generate needs to be put back in your community. Now that's in various ways for budgets, but make sure that you invest in your community to maintain your community. Communities are getting older, 40, 50-year certifications here in Broward and Dade County. Make sure you try to set a 3-5-year plan along the way and put your money where your house is. Michael? We also have something at Campbell. It's Florida.
The beginning was good, but
it's Florida Association News. And we'll go over this later on. Michael?
Let's get this in the mail. So
Yeah, please mute. I can't see who that is. Please mute yourself. Thank you.
And Gary, we have to kind of be wrapping up because we're running a little bit over time.
You got it. No problem. Go ahead, Michael. I'll tell you where to go on the slides, Michael. Trust your manager. Go ahead, Michael. Over communicate, as I said, please get these messages out. Everybody does robocalls, resident alerts, email blast, get the communication out. Michael? Keep going, Mike. All right, play by the rules. You have your declaration, your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, and your rules and regulations. And at the top, your Florida laws, 718 or 720 for homeowners associations. Make sure you understand these. Make sure you ask questions if you don't. These are the rules that all associations and as board members, you are required by law to follow. And the last one, Michael, be a good neighbor, as I said, right? There's our picture. I led off with a Geico commercial, right? That really resonates with us. So here we all know this gentleman, right? He's be a good neighbor. We know that from, I'll say when I was a child. How's that? But be a good neighbor. We all live in communities. We all live either next to each other or above and below each other in condominiums. Please respect your neighbors. Thanks, Michael. Any questions, Michael?
Yeah, let's take at least one question, Michael, for Gary, and then we'll move on.
Perfect.
All right, let's see here. A lot of duplicates here. So this is similar to the question I asked you before, Dr. Marks. Can we have people sign a release of responsibility for COVID if we open the clubhouse? Same question for visitors. Yeah, that's pretty much the question.
So, as Dr. Marks said, we have a responsibility in associations to care for all of the residents. And that's not only our unit owners and our renters in our community, but our guests as well. As far as people signing a release, the answer that we've gone by is we are not practicing that, if you will. And again, as Dr. Marks clarified, I'm not answering as an attorney, but in the associations that I'm responsible for, we're not using releases. We have to have, as Dr. Marks said, a plan in place to open safely, distance-wise, sanitation-wise. We still are in a COVID situation and our responsibility needs to be for everybody. So I would say to that note that releases by individuals would not apply to this situation. Okay, thanks, Michael.
Gary, thank you so much for a great overview. And I'm sure we could have spent an hour listening to all of the great information that you would have been able to give us. So thank you.
Perfect.
I'd like to introduce another one of our sponsors, Joe First, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Hotwire Communications. And I'd like to ask Joe if he would begin by picking a number from 1 to 200.
Well, since my last name is First, I'm going to go with number 1.
Good for you. Wonderful.
Senator Pizzo is here.
Okay. Can we ask you to hold for a minute, Joe?
No
and
problem at all.
It's my pleasure to introduce our very own Senator Pizzo, who is a good friend to all of us, and we're certainly looking forward to what he's going to have to say to us.
Hello, everybody. I'm actually on the floor right now. We're just off in a small little ante room, so we're actually in session, debating bills right now and the budget, which is somewhat important. But if Elaine asked me to be on something and Gary says be there, then I have to be there. So this is a very interesting session with a lot of interesting bills, is the nice way to say it. A lot of things are controversial. We're really trying to, obviously, I know this is condo related, push some smart things as it relates to condos and some protections as well. But everything's centered around some very, very controversial bills that we're dealing with this week. Perhaps on your radar, maybe not on your radar, but really sort of in the mix of some very divisive and hyper partisan, unfortunately, situations going on here. But happy to take any questions. Hi, Linda.
Hi there. Senator Pizzo, what's going on specifically as it relates to condos and HOAs?
So condos and HOAs, there are several bills floating. Ours is one of, we actually have two. One was to provide a sort of a backdoor way with CPAs and financial statements on an annual basis to shore up some, what we think is unsavory gray area behavior. The reason being is, you know, association members are not public officials, do not carry the same duties as elected officials. And at the same time, we really need some clarity on powers, emergency powers. Last year kind of amplified and exacerbated some of the issues that are outstanding, as well as term issues and reporting issues and public records, financial records issues. The one bright spot from last year is we got the ombudsman, who actually for DVPR doesn't have to be in Leon County anymore. So Spencer Hennings has been down sort of in our district. He's been floating between basically Fort Lauderdale. Sunny Isles was gracious enough to say, come on, move into City Hall so we can have you. The secretary for the Department of Banking Professional Regulation, who oversees condos, actually resigned a couple months ago. If you guys saw, he was very, very sick with COVID. Halsey Bashir's, that's who we brought down actually to Aventura City Hall. And I just met with the new new secretary, Julie, who promises to make herself absolutely available. It's not that bit of an arm twist really to bring down to our district because we have fantastic cities and places to be. So you should expect to see her a number of times. We're going to do a sort of a town hall scenario, town hall situation. I will tell you that she comes from the Public Utilities Commission, Public Service Commission. She is not as well versed on condo issues as, let's say, Halsey was, being from the legislature. However, she is very educable, very open-minded. And so whether good habits or bad habits, she really will cut her teeth and earn her stripes really in our district. The 15 cities I proudly represent, obviously making up the bulk of that. So I'm looking to you guys, maybe we make it an AMC event where we're all sort of back in person and we can spend we can have her for an entire day. We can do breakout sessions, but she's completely educable and completely open-minded and excited to learn about these issues. Not aware that there's only 38 agents with a budget that we strip every year. And we're learning right now, just this morning, the budget is not as dire as we thought it was. So all of a sudden they found a couple extra $1 billion and now they're more receptive to using CARES Act money, so on and so forth. So.
Do we have any questions for Senator Pizzo? Michael?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Does anybody want to raise their hand very quickly?
Elaine.
Yes, good morning, Senator. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that Senate Bill 1490 is yours, right?
Yes.
Could you go into just a few details about that? I know you did it very generally.
And Michael, I do have my cell phone and my email, but I put it in the chat. It only goes to you directly. Please share it with anybody who wants it. So 1490 actually was brought to us from a West Coast outfit and a number of lobbyists as it relates to a finite number of associations that are a little bit, let's say they are, well, not even in extraordinary fashion, but are relatively, they can still be conservative, but allow for excess reserves actually to be invested with something that actually gets a real return, not 50 basis points sitting in a whatever checking account. But with a majority vote of the association members, the board is allowed to bring on like a certified financial advisor and be able to invest the funds. It has an annual statement. It basically follows like not the sophisticated investor model, but the ability to be able to invest funds, because some of these associations are sitting with reserves for 6-7 years and they could basically, offset any interest that, or issues that they have or special assessments that might be coming. And many associations have found that, had they just put some of their reserves, and the bill requires 36 months of reserves on hand, at least to be available. that they could have found themselves in much better shape, even if they had found that they were artificially suppressing some association fees. But it does include the CPAs asked, the CPA lobby basically asked to amend some language, which we were amenable to do to make sure that, you know, it was on the up and up and it had safeguards in place. But I like the aspect of it that we have seen some reports of some associations that are, you know, wiring money in and out every other day. You know, the board is a homogenous group from the same area. I mean, you guys have all heard the same horror stories and or lived it. So it does put some necessary guardrails in there as well.
Linda, there's a question from a Vivian. I don't know if you want to continue with questions, but we do have.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Vivian, unmute yourself, please. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you. And thank you for being here. We have a problem with residents taking advantage of the COVID rules in order to not pay their maintenance fees. And we're kind of stuck with, you know, maybe 2-3% of our residents who are not paying, and therefore the burden falls on the other residents. And it's not necessarily that they can't pay, it's that they're not paying because they know that the rules are in their favor. Is anything coming our way in order to help us deal with these situations?
So the moratoriums in effect were actually never meant to handle association fees. You should proceed as you would in normal course. So if someone's telling you that any CDC guideline, any governor's executive order as it relates to associations, that's not covered. Okay, so there's a foreclosure moratorium, there's an eviction moratorium on the state side, as well as the CDC has extended. But for association fees, those are not considered cost. I mean, depends on what judge you get sometimes, but I'll tell you, is the property in Miami-Dade County? Is it Broward?
It's Broward.
Okay, the judges know that that's rather an exceptional expense that's outside of what would normally be considered that which, because of your adverse economic impact of COVID, you're not able to pay. I don't want to say it's considered a luxury item, but it's not, you know, there's no relief from property taxes. There's no relief from association fees. There's relief actually from mortgages, which landlords can work out, as well as homeowners can work out. And obviously there's a moratorium as it relates on a rental basis, but there's a CDC form that has to be filled out for landlords to accept, and the banks, you know, accordingly know how to work it out. Don't let anyone tell you association fees are included unless there's a Broward order, which probably wouldn't stand a challenge.
I don't know. That's our lawyer, so there might be something in Broward.
Is it an HOA or a condo?
Condo.
Okay, reach out to me.
Thank you.
Listen, our office has no problem. We're not allowed to interfere with open litigation, but I have no problem speaking to whoever you want me to speak to and reminding them what the law is.
Thank you so much.
Which saves everybody money and time, and, you know.
And is fair.
Yeah.
Senator, I have a question for you. Just came in. Is there a limitation of liability to condo associations for COVID-related issues, or are associations held liable and held responsible to implement and enforce CDC or city county rules and guidelines?
We're gonna actually, one of the issues that we're gonna be seeking out is there's a COVID liability that passed already, liability protection bill that passed already. The governor signed it into law last week. And now that it's signed, it's, you know, sort of the old Pelosi joke. We have to pass it to see what's in it. That just means that nobody read it. But we're very familiar with what's in it. Now we're very interested to see in application, would the association be considered an entity that, unless they were exhibiting gross negligence, unless someone can opine, but for their behavior or conduct, you know, it was the direct causation of someone on COVID, so on and so forth. We just want to clarify and make sure, and we'll work with, you know, let Gary be a perfect person. We'll get a legal opinion as to, you know, for an opinion that it covers associations as well. But my estimation is, and my consideration and the legislative intent behind it, is that associations are just like any other business for the purposes of having liability protection, so long as you weren't grossly negligent. It's a very high bar.
Another quick one, pretty easy answer. Is the legislation currently reviewing the mask mandate?
No. The governor has said there's no more masks. We're open. You know, I would tell you that I talk to the Surgeon General on a regular basis. I want you all to be very mindful of the new variant that's here. Not even so much for adults. It's actually hitting younger people in their 20s, 30s, and teens. So I have identical twin 14-year-old boys, as a few of you know. I have not been concerned up to date. Now I'm getting a little concerned on the variant. But actually our doctor of the day is Dr. Natalia Solonkova from Aventura, who works in the ICU. Is the doctor who said goodbye to a lot of people that we lost. The last point of contact. She's a special person, but she's actually our doctor of the day on the Senate floor. The mask mandate, there's not going to be a mask mandate in the state of Florida. That's just it. The governor's doubled down. Everything's open. COVID's canceled basically. So if you have issues with homebound residents or on vaccination issues, please reach out to us as well. We can help on those issues. And really, we play air traffic control. So when there's issues, no question stupid. Okay, I mean, I'm being serious because obviously it can have a very expensive negative consequence and detriment to get to a simple answer. So please reach out to us and use us as a resource. But mask mandates, no. What I have talked to the Florida realtors about though is they need to be cleaner and clear on guidelines that they're exhibiting, because I've had constituents call me saying, listen, I have one constituent who rents a house in Bal Harbour for $29,000 a month. Now the owner wants to sell it, and he's doing like 4 showings a day where 5 people at a time show up. Everybody keeps their shoes on. Nobody's wearing masks. And she's like, listen, at what point can I say no? And he's threatening to evict me and all that stuff. So the realtors need to help too on being cleaner on guidelines as well.
Nothing else from me at this time.
Okay. I hate to be short with you. Just we're literally on the floor in the large dome room voting and debating. So
thank you. Linda, you're on mute. Linda, you have to unmute.
You're going to point into the contracts.
All right, Linda, you have to unmute. Thank you, Senator Pizzo.
That is on mute. Listen, so take up the invitation. Let's bring her down for DBPR.
100%.
A whole day, breakout sessions, anything we want to talk about. All right, it's important.
We're going to take you up on this offer, and thank you again for everything you do for all of us.
Of course.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to quickly go back. I do have to ask Michael, do we have Stephen G on the line?
We should have him. Yes, he was here before. Yes, he should be here. Stephen,
Hi, everybody.
There we are.
There you
Okay,
go.
we're going to just switch things around a little bit, and we're going to ask Joe first to finish. We're just going to put Stephen G in first, just for timing purposes, and then we will get back to Joe. So Stephen, it's my pleasure to introduce you. And I full disclosure, Stephen remodeled our entire building at South Tower at the Point. We are thrilled with his work, and we're thrilled that he has the time in his very busy schedule to come and talk to all of us. So Stephen, please join us and share your knowledge with ET.
Hello, Linda. Hello, Elaine. And this is how I felt for the last 15 months as we have managed our way through COVID like everybody else. It has been a strange year. It has been an interesting year. And unfortunately, it continues. And we as a company have continued to work through COVID at all of our clients' buildings and associations that allowed us to work. We've had many shutdowns. We've had many start and stops. We have managed our way through the year plus. Right now, we're experiencing a tremendous surge in the real estate market. We are at full capacity and moving at 100 miles an hour. As Elaine and Linda know, I'm reachable from 5 in the morning till almost midnight on a daily basis. And I brought ET with me because I have to laugh, because I'm trying to be very positive through very trying times. Now, the world is continuing to change due to things that COVID has presented, and a little bit of our government has presented. There is shortage of raw materials worldwide. There is a shortage of foam to make sofas and chairs. There is a shortage of millwork, meaning woodworking for cabinetry people to be able to manufacture. And if you can find materials, the prices have gone through the roof across the board. Trucking has become an issue. Containers have become an issue, but the biggest issue that you're not hearing about that is affecting businesses all over this country is the shortage of manpower. And that is happening because people are staying home and getting more subsidies from the government than they are at their job. So it's a continuing process. We continue to work harder than ever during these times. And I'm here for anybody, and my showroom is opened if you need anything and we can be of any help. I am always here, as Linda and Elaine can tell you.
Stephen, can you talk to us about what you find happens to property values when buildings do get involved in doing remodeling?
Well, you know, Linda, we've had a great success at remodeling older buildings, and we just finished one, and yours was just amazing as a success story for you, the residents, the realtors of your building. But we just finished one in Hollywood that made you look like a palace when I walked in originally. We just finished the Catania at the Quatermain, which is a much older building, if I'm not mistaken, built in the 60s. I walked into a building untouched, rusting door frames. It was just like the Twilight Zone. I should have brought ET with me. And we took on the project as yours. We finished it 6 months early. I got a 3-page letter from Steve, and I always have trouble pronouncing his last name, Mekowitz, who is the president of that building and a lawyer. He wrote a 3-page letter telling me how realtors take everybody to the other 3 towers because it's one of 4. And then they take them to his building last, and they're getting 20% more money on a resale and between $6,000 and $1,000 a month more on a rental. And that is any new building that is, or any older building that's renovated, as yours was. I know the property values soared at your building, and they will continue to, because anybody today looking to purchase doesn't want to be hit later on with assessments. You're done. They walk into new, fresh, exciting. They don't walk into an antiquated building anymore. And the realtors are having a field day.
Do we have any questions for Stephen? Michael?
Yes, we do. Tell us about a new concept in affordable luxury. I'm not sure if that's a question or just a.
Well, Michael,
yeah.
For many years, dating back for those who are familiar with Mystic Point, when I started my career as Stephen G. almost 38 years ago, I was contacted by the powers to be at Mystic Point. They had 50 empty units that they couldn't sell in the last building because the building basically faced and sat on the causeway. So rather than discount the apartments to unload them, they asked me to come and furnish all 50. At that time of my career, it was like somebody handing me a lottery ticket to do 50 apartments. And we did them in record time for $25,000 an apartment. They flew out the door. They were sold in 45 days. So it gave me a concept of doing for the snowbird investor, the person that wants to spend 5 or 6 weeks and then rent their apartment where they can, to come up with a concept called Now by Stephen G. It's a separate showroom next to my existing showroom in Pompano Beach, where people can walk and see 14 different looks, all in the same price point. You could come in and take a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom and furnish it starting at $50,000 to $125,000 all in. Furniture, artwork, area rugs, televisions, patio furniture, wallpaper, window treatments done by a professional designer. Last year, because of COVID, we were a little shy of the mark. We did 52 apartments from Dade to Palm Beach County with Now. In the first 90 days of this year, we have already completed 40. We are on target to do between 100 and 125 units of what we call affordable luxury. People are blown away when they walk into the showroom. They ask the same question 5 times. All of this is included. Yes, it is. So it's been a tremendous winner for us at Interiors by Stephen G. And it is called Now by Stephen G because most of the time we could deliver it in less than a week and finish.
Wonderful. Any other questions, Michael?
No, we are coming around 11 o'clock, so we're pretty much at the end. I think we actually have a couple questions, not for Stephen G, just general questions, but I guess we'll
We
save
have a
that
couple,
for after.
we have a couple other items that we're going to take care of too. Stephen, thank you so much for sharing your expertise. We appreciate you bringing ET and we wish you continued success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, and a pleasure being here. And I'm going to now phone home.
Please phone home. My phone doesn't stop and I can't unmute right. Can't mute, I'm sorry. Joe, first, thank you for your patience. And will you please tell us just a little bit about Hotwire?
No problem. I won't show the 47 slides I had ready. Tough shoes to follow with Steve and Gary, and of course, Senator dropping in on us. That was a delight. So thank you for the opportunity to spend time with each of you every single year, quarter after quarter. We're proud to continue to sponsor these events and continue to stay local. Also, thanks to the Aventura Marketing Council, our elected officials, the sponsors in our community, that over the last 20 years, Hotwire has become the premier telecom and community technology provider in the South Florida market. So as Linda said, my name is Joe First. I'm Senior Vice President and General Manager of our wonderful community here in South Florida. Hotwire Communications is headquartered in South Florida. We've been in business since 2000, and we specialize in homeowners associations, condo associations, and fiber optic telecommunications deployment. We're a state franchise cable operator. We're the fastest and most reliable internet service in the United States. If you've seen our trucks on the road, you'll see that they say Fission by Hotwire. Fission is our fiber optic platform. And as we're all learning as we go through this process of telecommunications and the nucleus of your property, fiber is the future for internet services, video services, and truly for allow us to stay connected. And luckily 20 years ago, we started there. And to kind of touch base back on what Gary was referencing earlier, highly effective habits, a highly effective habit for us all that I feel like I want to make sure we don't overlook. Over the last year, we all had to find things that we do. Steve just mentioned he keeps ET with him, but different pieces to our puzzle that allow us to recenter and ensure that we have our nucleus. So as we're continuing to get 1% better every day, whether that's as a board member, as a property manager, as a mom, a dad, a brother, sister, as a friend, make sure that you have that ritual or that habit that allows you that when things happen, such as a pandemic over the last year, you're able to make sure that you can either look forward to the end of the day or something that you did in the morning, and that's your highlight for the day. It allows you to recenter and have that nucleus. And kind of finalizing on why that's important and how that relates to technology is Hotwire Communications, we are focused on being the pulse of the community. And when it comes to your properties, we have been the nucleus and the center to ensure that everyone continues to stay connected. We serve properties such as Privé at Island Estates, Point East Condo, Turnberry Village, Aventura Park Square. We work with the Prime Group, Turnberry, and of course the city of Aventura and the Don Sofer Charter School. And we're proud to continue to be a part of it. So in closing, if your community, if your homeowners association is looking for a true partner that specializes in the people business, but does a phenomenal job in technology, internet, and making sure we have the measures in place that if something happens, we're there for you because we live here. We have over 800 employees that report to our headquarters here in South Florida, and we're growing at a 30% rate of employment And we thank you all for that. And we look forward to hearing from all of you. So have a great day. And remember, you always can recenter during unfortunate circumstances. So thank you very much.
So
Thank you.
Joe, I'm sorry, just real quickly, not a question, but a very quick comment. Paul Jacobson would like to thank you for making Mystic Point the first Aventura condo, Mystic Point Tower 100, to introduce Hotwire. So thought you'd like to hear that.
Yes, thank you very much. Great to see you. I look forward to talking to you soon.
And thank you again. We want to thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank our speakers, Senator Pizzo, Stephen Gurowitz, Gary Pyott. We want to thank everyone for coming. For those of you who are new to this CHOAB meeting, we usually do this in person, have a lovely luncheon and share our speakers with each other. And we are looking forward to that day, hopefully in the near future, where we can do that again. We thank Elaine and the Aventura Marketing Council. We thank our mayor for her support. And most of all, we thank you, our board members. You deserve a huge pat on the back. It has not been a simple year for you. So please take a moment to stand back and say, no matter what you've dealt with this year, you have helped your neighbors, and there's nothing more rewarding than being able to do that. So with that, we thank you. We say adios. The winners for the raffles will be contacted directly from the Aventura Marketing Council, and have a beautiful day. Thank you, Michael, also. Goodbye now. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great day.
A little while ago,
Bye.
you know,